How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Foggins Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it's going to be on Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. Now, this is a 2023 animated comedy film, and this is from Aardman Animation. And this is, of course, the sequel to the 2000 film Chicken Run. And this is directed by Sam Fell, the man behind Flushed Away, which that was also an Aardman Animation production film. And he also went on to direct a few other animated films, such as The Tale of Despero and Paranorman. And so he has now come back to Aardman to make a new animated film for their film library, which is this film. And in this film, we follow Rocky and Ginger, who this time around they're being replaced by different voice actors, in which in this film you've got Zachary Levi as Rocky and Thandiwe Newton as Ginger, and they lead a rescue mission in which they have to rescue their daughter, Molly, who's voiced by Bella Ramsey, who has been abducted to this highly advanced poultry farm that's been run by their old enemy, which is, of course, Mrs. Tweedy, who's once again voiced by Miranda Richardson. So that's pretty much the story of Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. Now, when it comes to the original Chicken Run film from 2000, it certainly is one of my all-time favorites when it comes to stop-motion animation films. And I'm a big fan of stop-motion animation films, even though we don't really tend to get much of those types of movies nowadays when it comes to animated films. But when it comes to, but also for that film, it's also one of my all-time favorites when it comes to Aardman Animation, because I'm a big fan of Aardman Animation, and I always tend to really appreciate the works that they tend to craft as a film studio. So when I heard there was going to be a sequel to Chicken Run, I was really excited to see what the sequel was going for, but I was also a little bit disappointed to find out that some of the original actors from the original film did not come back for the sequel, like Julia Sawal did not return for Ginger, and even Mel Gibson did not return as Rocky, which that was disappointing. Even I was still glad to see that some actors from the original did come back for the sequel, even though there were a few that were replaced, but I was still quite intrigued to see what these new voice actors were going to be doing for voicing these characters that we all love from the original Chicken Run film. So I watched this film on Netflix on Christmas Day in 2023, and after watching this whole thing on Netflix, unfortunately, I wouldn't say the sequel isn't on the exact same heights as the original Chicken Run film, because I was a little bit disappointed with this one, but I still overall had a solid time with the sequel, even though, again, it's just nowhere near as good as the original Chicken Run movie. The animation is still great, just like in the original film, in terms of claymation and animation. And I thought it was even well replicated when it comes to the bright, colorful moments, and even for the darker moments, which I thought was really well done. Even the action sequences here, I actually thought were quite fun when it came to some of that here within the sequel. And the storytelling here for this film, I thought was pretty fun and creative in terms of its concept, where the original film was like The Great Escape, but with chickens, whereas for this sequel, it's like Mission Impossible, but with chickens. And I thought that was quite fun, because in the sequel we see the chickens breaking into this high-tech farm to try and rescue Molly, who's been abducted by Mrs. Tweedy, in which at this farm as she's running, she's like hypnotizing chickens, and she's trying to turn them into chicken nuggets, which that was actually quite fun. And there was even at one point in the film where the two rats from the original film do make a joke about Mission Impossible, which I actually thought was quite funny. And there are often times the film does tend to have a few callbacks to the original film, even though I felt like the film did kind of lack some of the magic of what the original film had, which that was a bit disappointing. Even though the film does tend to have a few fresh ideas, which I did like, but again, it just didn't reach. But I just felt like a few that just didn't reach the exact same heights as the original film, which that was kind of disappointing. And as for the jokes, they are solidly entertaining when it comes to some of that here within this movie. And as for the voice work itself here, for both Zachary Levi and Thandiwe Newton, who replaced Mel Gibson and Julia Sawalha from the original film, they do a solid job of voicing Rocky and Ginger, even though I do prefer the original two actors of voicing these characters for the sequel, even though, again, they did not come back for the sequel, which, again, that was quite disappointing. But again, for these new actors, again, they do a solid job. And even for some of the original voice actors from the original, they actually did come back for the sequel, and they're once again fun. You have a voice in these characters once again. And as for some of the new ones, in which you've got like Bella Ramsey, who voices Molly in the film, I thought Bella Ramsey did a really good job for doing the voice of Molly, and I did like this character. She was quite a good character that I liked in this film here. But in the end, guys, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget unfortunately didn't reach the exact same heights as the original Chicken Run film, but there were a few things that I did find myself enjoying quite a bit, but it certainly isn't one of my favorites when it comes to Aardman Animation itself as a studio. But if you're a fan of the original Chicken Run, or you're a fan of Aardman Animation here, chances are you might enjoy this one here, but in all honesty, I just much prefer watching the original Chicken Run movie over this. So that's pretty much all to say about Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. I'm going to give Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget 3.5 out of 5. certainly a solid sequel, even though again just nowhere near as good as the original. Even though there were a few things that I did find myself enjoying quite a bit here, but in all honesty, I just much prefer watching the original movie over this. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After I Saw review on Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. And I'd like to know what did you guys think of this sequel, if you've seen this already, or if you just recently checked this one out. And as always, this has been Foggins Media Corner signing off.